It's Thursday, the 23rd of January, 2024. On this evening's show, we give our thoughts on our third away win of the season as the Pool held on for victory against Bristol Rovers at the Memorial Ground, as we unbelievably recorded our third win on the bounce, and that was for the first time since March 2022, if you can believe that. And I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasands Podcast Match Reaction Show. Bristol Rovers 1, Blackpool 2. Evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Seasands Podcast on a Tuesday evening. Joining us on the panel this fine, very windy, blustery day in Blackpool are Coffin Nick, the Grim, the Grice Reaper, even, and Tom. You, as I said in the green room, you're emulating Most Haunted with your green-grey pallor. I think that's the word, isn't it? Thanks for coming on anyway.
Yeah,
reminiscent of Tim when he was in his crypt.
Yeah, it's a wet and windy Yorkshire, so I thought I'd put a background that was appropriate.
Always depressing in Yorkshire. The Grim Reaper's above you, right, Andy? Are you a bit happier after that performance? Good. After those 3 points?
What a man Critchley is, eh? Even got a good fisting for all those that went to Bristol. But no, happy with the 3 points. It's what we all wanted. So, everyone got to be happy that we've got 3 points away from home at last.
Nick's joined us off the subs bench this evening. A Coffin. Donald Trump would call you Coffin Nick Smith. One of those names he puts on. Our two panel members who did go to the game. One's cried off, and Sakia just can't be bothered, can he?
He's having laptop trouble. I've got what Matt's got by the sound of it. Bob Flemingitis. I just cannot stop coughing, but I've passed a late fitness test, so I'll do my best. Though I think between us, I had the radio on, and I've seen highlights. Like you say, Matt and Tim were the two people who were there, and they've not made it, unfortunately. But we'll soldier on regardless.
Our boots on the ground have been taken off, chucked in a corner, and been left to rot. But yeah, we'll cover the game as best we can. Anyway, let's get on with it, and we'll start as ever with the starting 11: O'Donnell, Husband, Norburn, Morgan, Joseph, Dembele, Coulson, Rhodes, Casey, Ekpateta on the bench. Chapman, I guess that's the third choice keeper. Connolly, Gabriel, Dale, Carey, Virtue, and Lavery. Andy, strong bench, and your words were ringing in my ears when I looked at that start 11 when you predicted that after such a fine performance of our two proper wing backs, Lyons and Gabriel, that Lyons would probably be benched for the next game. Your prophecy did come true somewhat, but he wasn't just benched, he was thrown out of the squad completely.
Ostracised.
What's going on there?
Chucked into the reserves. Obviously, I think a few of us are disappointed with the way Lyons, or we feel Lyons has been treated. Obviously, we don't know everything. Obviously, we don't know if he's played 120 minutes in the week and carrying a bit of an injury. We don't know anything like that. But on the face of it, I think having had a great performance on Wednesday night, just feels a bit disappointing that he can't then get in the squad. But hey ho, we have to move on, don't we? It wouldn't be the first time I've questioned Mr. Critchley.
Not you, Andy, surely.
No,
I don't believe that for a second.
No, but no, he's this stand. He's probably the standout. Gabriel, you can sort of understand coming back from his injury and like playing during the week and then like benching him for the weekend. You get that, don't you? you get that. But I doubt if we've signed Coulson not to play. So the other one at the back left Connolly out, didn't we? And went back to Casey, ex-Teta and husband, which did we start with that? That's about what we started with at the start of the season, where Marv had all his problems with the passing around at the back, but like he seems to hopefully have come through that a little bit. But.
Okay, Tom, over to you. Your thoughts on that? No Pennington whatsoever, even on the subs bench. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, he's back. Critchley's back to his old ways, isn't he? With making a few random changes in the starting 11, which I quite like in a weird way. You're half expecting Oakley Booth to be in there or something, aren't you? It's just a bit of a red herring that they just throw it. Yeah, you never know what's coming with the Critchley starting 11. I quite liked it. To be honest, I didn't notice Gabriel was out at the time, but then, that was a surprise maybe. But again, he played a slightly different formation, didn't he, against Forest, putting Hamilton sort of behind Rhodes a little bit rather than as a wing back. But he's gone back to his tried and trusted 3-5-2. So, yeah, he's obviously just taken Gabriel out for that purpose and put Coulson back in. But yeah, it wasn't. There's no one screaming out as a bad choice in that 11. I think we all like the 11 players who played. It was more just a case of the players that maybe we would like to have seen in there instead as well, which is testament to the strength of our squad at the minute, where we've got Gabriel and Lyons have been injured and they've come back. You've got Virtue back fit, Lavery's back fit. So we've got plenty of options across the field.
Nick, Tom just mentioned there the strength of the squad. If you look at the subs bench there, it is strong. There's game changes, potentially. You're looking at 4, possibly 5 game changes on that subs bench.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the lineup, but like Andy, I was disappointed that Lyons didn't feature at least on the bench. Like he says, we're not sure what's going on there. Maybe he's picked up a knock. I don't know. I've not seen anything to say that. And Pennington, I think his was a head injury, wasn't it? So they would have had the certain protocols to follow, isn't there? I think following that, but that's been a while, so not really sure there. But I was quite pleased with the lineup overall. Great to see Joseph in there after his performance against Forest, and as we'll come to talk about, he certainly had a positive impact in the game. And we have got the games are thick and fast, aren't they? And we're probably a bit dead on our feet after all the effort we put in after Forest. So, rotating a bit is probably no bad thing. And we got the 3 points, so you have to say it was probably justified.
Yep, you can't argue with the win. Dave Coleman's just said Pennington was on the bench against Forest.
Right.
Yeah, I think he was.
So, yeah, a bit of a funny one because I think he's done all right this season when he's played. Probably worth a place on the bench. But
is he our standout defender, Pennington? I'd say he's up there.
Yeah, he's probably picked Connolly because he's versatile and he can drop into the field if you need him to. Whereas Pennington's literally just going to play right centre half. But it's only if Casey goes out or Ekpiteta. So probably just edged it on that reason.
He's probably got 5 of them that he picks. The 3 that played there with Pennington and Connolly, and he doesn't seem bothered which ones he plays, does he really?
Michael Eggs just said, is it squad rotation? Is this the correct way? Just get used to it as it's annoying as he ain't going to change his ways.
Well, I think, if you're losing 3 on the bounce, that you could be questioning it. I think when you win 3 on the bounce, you have to say fair enough. And when you look at the squad, there probably is going to be 1 or 2 who, unfortunately, might not make the bench. But then you never know. You can be out the squad for 5 or 6 games, then you start, don't you? All of a sudden. So it doesn't necessarily mean we've seen the last of these players or anything. They could be starting on Saturday.
The only final sort of thing you notice when you see the lineup is there was no Grimshaw, because I know we probably all expected him not to play, but it's a shame not to see him in there. That's probably the first thing you notice that's worth the mention. I don't know if anyone's seen the news on Grimshaw. I don't remember seeing anything about how long he's going to be out for. I know they try and keep that close to the chest, but it's out for
Critchley did mention it. Critchley did mention it. And I think he said he was touch and go for this game, but they decided to leave him out. And but if that's the case, then you'd expect him to be back in goal on Saturday.
That said, would it be a bit harsh on O'Donnell to drop him straight away, given we're jumping slightly ahead of ourselves? We'll talk about CJ's opening goal, but I've put him in match notes and a great save from O'Connell, if you remember, point blank save not long after we'd gone 1-up, stopping their lad when he's 3 on goal at an angle. I think that was a pivotal moment of the game for me. Had they stuck that away, the whole atmosphere in the ground would have changed, and they, it could have swung the other way, and they could have gone on to win the game. So
it'd be, I mean, if Grimmy is fit for Saturday, it'll be interesting to see what he does, because he certainly, he didn't let anybody down, O'Donnell. But I think ultimately Grimmy is first choice, isn't he? O'Donnell's played, sort of in the cup games, be it FA Cup or EFL Trophy games. So I think if Grimmy is fully fit, I would probably expect him to start. And like I say, don't mind O'Donnell. I'm not thinking, we looked any worse off for it. We didn't at all. I suppose it's good to have a keeper that can come in when needed and perform well, and it also keeps Grimmy on his toes as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's move on to the first half then. Go on, Andy.
I think whichever one of them plays on Saturday, the other one will play against Bolton.
Yeah.
And who are incidentally winning tonight, and Bristol Rovers getting beat by Exeter at home.
Oxford are playing tonight as well, aren't they?
They're
Charlton are 1-0 down,
losing.
so we'll come on to that at the end of the show. But
I was hoping they got.
I was hoping they got a result tonight and kept him in a job, because I think if they lose at home to Northampton, it could be curtains for Mr. Appleton, and we won't get to. Just give him a nice round of applause on his return.
Well, we can just put Colin in the dugout.
Yeah.
Just put Colin in the dugout. Everyone will just think he's there. Just give Colin an injection of steroids into both his biceps and get him to fold his arms on the touchline.
They've just equalised Charlton, and then Northampton have gone up the other end and scored. So it's 2-1 to Northampton at the moment. Anyway, back to our game.
We'll give live scores later.
They've not won since the 28th of November.
I was having a look on their forum. Sorry, I know we're going off topic here. And a lot of the comments from Charlton fans is like, I think, towards the end of Appleton's reign, people saying, he's not done anything to endear himself and endear himself to fans, and questioning some of the tactics and formations and stuff. And there's a lot of people wanting a change of manager, but
sounds very familiar. That
makes
lovely stuff. South Shore Seaside as Oxford are losing. Fingers crossed results go our way. Right, anyway, first half. Come to you first, Tom. Blackpool started the game very strongly, 5 minutes in, and CJ scored. Joseph once again heavily involved.
Yeah, it was good work from Rhodes as well, wasn't it, to spot Joseph run and slide in and poke it forward. Very intelligent forward play. Joseph looks like a different player. I know there was a lot of on here, and a lot of friends I spoke to who've been to the games, all criticising him.
Didn't someone refer to him as the new Joe Nuttall as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which
don't know who
doesn't get much worse than that, does it? No. So yeah, he just needed that goal. The goal in the midweek will have helped him, and he's just been working really hard. But I think he's just getting confident in his own body and getting back out there, because it's been out for a hell of a long time, and you can't underestimate how much of an impact that time off has with a serious injury. So, yeah, it's been great to see him come into the side. Worth noticing, Jordan Rhodes hasn't scored for 7 games. Nobody's talking about that because we've won 3 games, but he hadn't gone more than 2 games without a goal, but he's now gone 7. So he scored on Boxing Day, which I noticed. So it's great that someone like Joseph can come in and pull his weight so that we're not... in particular with the goal, great work from Rhodes, great work from Joseph, and a thumping finish from CJ. Who knew he had that in his locker with his right foot?
Easy to miss, Andy, actually, wasn't it? It was
the loved. Well, I mean, Critchard's still on the ceiling because his love child's hit one with his right foot, and it's just arrowed into the top corner, isn't it? It's just
sublime finish.
It's a great finish. To be fair, you can't knock it. It was a really good finish. I mean, I expected they'd be getting the ball out the car park. To be fair, but like there's nothing you can say. Like the only thing that would have made it better if it had been Connolly hitting it, then he could have justified an 8 instead of the 4 that we readjusted it to last week. No, it was a great finish, and really good players. Tom said by Rhodes and Joseph.
Did anyone notice he did a slight goading of the Bristol Rovers fans, which was good to see. I know we've bemoaned it happening to us all the time, haven't we?
Who, Joseph?
No, CJ. He gave it a bit of he gave it a bit to the Bristol Rovers fans. There wasn't much of a reaction, so he kind of muted that celebration. So yeah, great start though, Nick. And as we said earlier, O'Donnell's made a very smart save. 5 minutes after the first goal's gone in, and a pivotal moment, perhaps.
Yeah, it stood up well to it. It was a good save, and like you say, if they scored, then it could have been a different story because they are decent at home. I think something like in the league they're unbeaten in a good number of games. I think it goes back to August, but when the last time they lost at home in the league. So, and as we said on the last pod, it's not a place where we've got a great record. So the way we started was just brilliant on the front foot. And I'd echo what the guy said about Joseph. I've liked him from the start, really. And I think it was just a case of him getting his fitness back. He was out for, 4.5 months. So it can take a little bit of time. And I think we're starting to see the best of him now. It's his work rate, but also his skill. And, when he got into that position, quite often we've seen this season with players where we're in good positions and we just don't quite play the right ball, or the defender gets the foot in at the byline. And this was just a bit of composure, great ball across, and fair play to CJ. I was, you see it and think, where's this going to end up? And it might have taken a slight touch, but nevertheless a great finish. And then that save from O'Donnell was pivotal, especially when what then happened with the second goal. And again, great from Joseph on the break as well, and then up the other end. And again, another just great composure to lay it across to Dembele, and another absolutely brilliant finish.
Joey Yates has been coming in for a bit of stick from Swansea fans. I don't know if you guys have seen on Twitter. Yeah. Obviously, Joseph's come as part of the Jerry deal. We weren't privy to the amounts, but what do we estimate? It was like 4 million.
I think
was it 4 million. How much was Joseph worth? Are we guessing?
Well, the Swansea lad that I saw was bemoaning the fact that they'd paid 3 million for Yates plus Joseph. So
it's effectively 1 million, I think, isn't it, for Joseph, something like that?
Yeah. So they thought they'd got very much the worst of that deal, and they think that Joseph was a better player than Yates. It's hard for us, isn't it? Because Yates was good for us, and he's well liked, and his work rate was fantastic. But on this the showing of the last two games, Joseph's work rate is really good too, and he's definitely looking like a good signing now. Like he has really took his time to find his feet with us. But the last two showings, you can't knock the lad. He's doing really well.
Tom, how do you think they compare, the two players, Jerry and Joseph? They've got very similar attributes in some ways.
It is, yeah. If you remember when Jerry first signed as well, he went on a big run of not scoring, didn't he? Like 11 games. So you could compare that to Joseph as well a bit, really.
Well, we've lost you, Tom.
What Blackpool? Sorry, did you lose me
So
there?
just, yeah.
Oh.
So just repeat that. Just start again.
Yeah. So I was just saying that he went on a run, didn't he, of no games, Jerry? No goals, Jerry, at the start of his run before he found his feet, and then he managed to go on a bit of a scoring run. So similar to Joseph's start, really, in Tangerine. But what you can say about them both is they've got great work rate. And one thing we love at Bloomfield Road is players who work hard, and even if they're not scoring goals, we'll always cheer them on for doing the best. Whereas in the Championship, you don't sort of get that luxury. So I think he's been allowed to play into form, whereas Jerry at Swansea, I know he started quite well and he scored a few, but as soon as he's on that dry spell, questions start to get asked. And I watched some of the game on Sunday against Leeds, and he slid in and hit the post. Similar to that miss, I can't remember where it was last season, but Jerry missed a sitter for us, didn't he? And when we were on a really bad run, it was a massive chance. So he's never been an absolute prolific goal scorer. And I don't think Joseph necessarily is, but what you saw great from Joseph on Saturday was setting up those two goals, like Nick said, just being able to have that clarity of thought and pick the right pass. That's a perfect strike partner for Rhodes in this team. So, yeah, very similar players, really, with good quality.
I like that comment from Andy Porter, John. Joseph is like a hybrid of Jazz and Gaz. And he's right. He has got that. He's got a physicality about him as well. But he's no disrespect to Big Gaz, because I know Mitch will be listening, but he's just more mobile as well, isn't he? Which he's a younger player, isn't he? But he's got that physicality about him, but he's not short of pace either. So that coupled with his work rate, I think we've got a very decent player on our hands at this level.
And one of our other panel members, whose name shall not be mentioned, predicted he will never play for Blackpool, didn't he? So a bit of an egg on his face there, I think. Right, let's talk about.
You had to be sorry. You had to be accept that just like it was hard luck, wasn't it? That you signed a player with an injury, then he recovers and then he gets injured, and like it had the hallmarks of a Kevin Stewart, didn't it? And just thinking like, oh no, it's not going to happen to us again, and that's how it probably felt, and that's where the cynical bit comes in. Sorry, John.
Especially because nobody's got over the Colby Bishop situation yet, have they? So until we get back to the Championship, that's not going to go away. So every big signing's just got big pressure on from that situation, and the irony of him getting injured so early on put that into context a little bit, given they were probably a similar fee.
Tom, what did you make of Chris Martin's goal? Played for it or a total scab?
It's a clever finish, isn't it? I don't know if he's meant to do it exactly like that, but he's just hitting it towards the back post and probably over the keeper. So it's come off exactly how he wanted it to, hasn't he? But I think that's just instinct. You see the ball get flicked on and just stick a leg out. It's like when Mikeshi Anderson scored one, didn't he, in the cup for us, which was even better than that, and it came off the back of his heel or something. So, yeah, a bit of a freak goal. He's scored goals at every level, Chris Martin, hasn't he? So you can't say that he's just a big battering ram that hasn't got that in his locker. He has. So yeah, I'll give it to him.
You giving it, Andy? Would you claim that if you were playing?
Fluke.
I think I'd agree with Tom. I think at first you think as he meant it, but he is he's a wily old player, and he's got goals like that in his locker. But my worry was at that point, are they going to go and get a second? Have we, we'd started so well, and you're thinking, God, if we could just get another, and this could be a real massive statement win. Not that it wasn't, but at 2-1, you're thinking our away form, some of the performances we've seen psychologically, mentally, what are we going to be able to hang on in there on this, because it can become a bit of a mental thing with players when you're putting in poor performances away from home, and collectively they just sort of do their heads drop. But to be fair, without necessarily going and creating loads up at the other end, I thought we saw the game out pretty well on the whole. After that, there wasn't loads of chances, but I didn't mind that because listening to it, I didn't sort of feel, oh bloody hell, there's a goal coming here. They had a couple of corners and one where I think O'Donnell and Marv between them sort of cleared it at the back post, and we had chances on the break. So I think overall it was a deserved 3 points.
It was a bit of a stretch for Critchley to say that we were comfortable in the game. It was that was a bit of a stretch, to be honest.
Did you feel though that we've got away with one there? I didn't. It didn't sound to me, listening to it, that there was masses of pressure coming from them. I thought we, without, like I say, creating loads, I didn't feel like, oh Jesus, we're getting away with it here. There's a goal coming. No,
it wasn't that, but you were never comfortable, like, because you number one, you knew what we were like, and number two, that they had some pressure, and like I know right at the end they had the supposed penalty appeal. I think on hindsight it was outside the area, but that honestly, I was watching it with 3 others, and every one of them went penalty, and it looked a pen, and so I think we did get away with one a little bit because the referee didn't even give a foul, and like, let's be fair, it was a foul. It was just outside the box and not a pen. But he fell a right way in to the area. So anyway, look, we have enough bad luck in the season, so if we've got a bit of good luck there, great.
Second half then, Tom, not really incident packed, was it?
No, I remember the chance we got when Lavery broke clear, and then Albie Morgan forced a save, didn't he? And then I saw from the highlights, Bristol Rovers had a few chances, no real massive clear cut ones, but I think O'Donnell made a couple of good saves and a bit of good defending as well. But I think generally it's just great to get that monkey off our back for away wins, isn't it? I don't know when the last away win was, but it was a long time ago. It was certainly before the Fleetwood 3-3 on it. I think we've lost pretty much everyone since then. So massive to build on those home games. I think the atmosphere around the place was very much, home games are one thing, but I'm leaving before Critchley does his thing at the end because we can't get a point away from home, so it doesn't matter till that gets turned around. But now we've actually won, and that creates a bit of momentum. We've won 3 on the bounce now. And yeah, that means a lot more than it does when you win at home because of our dismal away record. So I know Critchley said in his post-match that was the biggest result of the season, or, most pivotal moment so far in the season. I'd have to agree with that because it's really a sign that we're going to be up there in the mix at the end of the season rather than sinking towards Northampton, Leyton Orient and Lincoln behind us with that big gap. So it's nice to see we're still in the race with those 3 wins after a shocking Christmas.
He said, I think given our recent schedule, this is our best result of the season. Do you agree with that? Anybody?
I would agree with it. Yeah, I think we all said on the last pod that it was a pivotal moment in the season, and we're winning these home games and then being so poor away, and you're not going to push on into the playoffs unless you can pick up points away from home. I mean, one day at some point we might move out of 8th place. Who knows? But teams have got games in hand on us, haven't they? There's a few playing tonight, so it was really important to pick up the win.
As Rich Hansels just said, unbeaten in 2024.
Well, remember last time under Critch, that second half of the season, we had a mad run, didn't we? So fingers crossed we can replicate that.
I think we need another one, Nick. If I'm being brutally honest, we have to get another run those runs. I mean, we talked about, when was it, John? It was before the Northampton. That was post Portsmouth, wasn't it? And we had a pod, and I spoke about this Northampton game being crucial now to us, and then someone, one of our esteemed comments came through from one of our esteemed watchers, who said, "Are you crazy? It's not a must win," and that's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to say it's really important that we win the Northampton game to get on a run and to get momentum of a run, right? And then we lose.
Sounds like you've been stewing on that, Andy.
No, it's just that I don't. We all want the same thing here, by the way. We all want
It's
the
that
same
Belinda
thing.
Carlisle song again, isn't it? We dream the same dream. We want the same thing.
We want the same thing.
Let's look at league table
Thank you
after that
very much.
game. Surprise, surprise, we are in 8th. However, that gap is now shortening ever so slightly between us and Barnsley and Oxford. Oxford are losing tonight, aren't they? 3 wins on the bounce. That's been, I think, as we said in the intro, the first time since March 22. So not to be sniffed at. 3 wins on the bounce in the league. So I think we've got to kick on, though, haven't we?
Yeah,
we do. Sorry, go on, Tom.
I was going to say I don't know when the last time was we won 4 on the bounce. That'd be quite the statement, wouldn't it? If we can beat Charlton, especially if we can give Appleton the sack. What a great Saturday that would be in store. But I think just looking at the fixtures now, it's a pretty ridiculous run coming. After Charlton, you got Bolton twice, both in the cup and the league, who are above us. Oxford, who are above us. Sorry, I'll go in chronological order. So we got Charlton, then Bolton, and then it's Stevenage away above us. Oxford at home above us. You got Cheltenham away, which is not an easy place to go. I know they're down there, but obviously it's away on a Tuesday night, which we don't do well at. Then it's Peterborough above us and Bolton above us, and then Leighton Orient are just behind us, aren't they? So
February's tough. I didn't realise.
Yeah. So by the time we get to Portsmouth at the start of March, you'll know a lot more about where we're going to be. I know that's an obvious thing to say, but what a run that is! You've played them all, then, haven't you?
The Orient game.
There's not many big teams up there for us to go up against. It's a better run in it between then and the end of the season.
Does the Orient game come after Bolton?
I think it rearranged one.
Yeah, I think it does. So it means we got 4 away, and 6 out of the 6 games in February.
Yeah, and Shrewsbury straight after that as well, which is start of March, but that's a 5th away game in that run.
Yeah,
and your 2 at home are Oxford and Bolton.
February is going to be pivotal then, I think. Looking at that,
yeah,
it's going to define our season.
So if we get 18 points in February, we'll be laughing.
Yeah, and there's obviously that that's Reading on the end, the last game of the season. So you'd hope there's nothing riding on that if they're down there fighting for their lives and getting, going on the pitch and getting games postponed like we've had to do before. So you wouldn't want to be in that position where we need a win and we end up getting a point because they only played the first X amount of minutes like we did to Huddersfield that time. So we need to get it. We need to get into those playoffs before that if we can. Obviously, Barnsley's before that, it could be a straight shootout. So yeah, that between sort of Portsmouth and Barnsley, we've pretty much got to win all of them, and they're very winnable games apart from sort of Derby away. So that's the run I'll be looking at after we get through this horrendous month in February. But yeah, as we know, Critchley raises his game against the better teams, doesn't he? And we tend to do quite well. So I'm really excited to see us go up against all these teams and sort of try and match them. So yeah, should be a good few weeks coming up, hopefully.
Should we do player ratings? Sorry, Andy.
We certainly, like, if we're going to get on a run, we'll need the stadium to be more like it was against Forest from a noise angle than we've had it this season. We've certainly, due to a few factors, the football, where we are in the league, the fact that Critchley came back and probably divided the fan base and things like that. So all those things have led to the atmosphere dropping off. But it was back against Forest, and and it felt great that was the atmosphere was back, and the team reacted. The team loved it, didn't they? Joseph running around, and Gabriel and they love it when it's like that. But we've got to be inspired as well. And like build it, and to the media team, build the bloody games up like they mean something. Build them up and give people reason to want to come that look on social media. You really need it. We need it, and we need to get on a run, and we need everybody to be behind this team in the ground. If these are going to go on a run, they need us.
We need the Grim Reaper giving a rallying cry on the tannoy before each game. Step aside, Tony Parr.
Absolutely. Me and Raggy on the Raggy aid for an hour, and then like get at it. Yeah.
Do you think it will be surely it'll be a factor with Appleton coming back on Saturday. That's enough to get us going, and it surely after the Forest game and the 3 back-to-back wins, that's your momentum builder, isn't it? So Appleton coming back,
hopefully,
all of a sudden you're
still losing.
You look at next 6 home games. Appleton coming back, Bolton coming. We should be up for that. Oxford, Bolton again. Portsmouth, and then the non-league team from down the road. I can't remember the name. Yeah,
you're right though. That's the hell of a run of home fixtures coming up.
It is,
and I think you're going to get that atmosphere that you want in Andy. I think with these games, and it's good that we've gone on this little 3-game bounce to, hopefully get more bums on seats and get people more invested in it. I think they will be now because we've got a bit of momentum now. I think so.
But we need everyone to sell, get the mates going again and feel as get the feel good again but the club have got to do their bit. I keep saying it. There's nothing coming out from the club that's building the next game up and build the next game up like we did when we were selling out. We had a lot more activity from the club to build these games up to get more tickets sold, and we've got to do that.
What do you suggest, Andy?
They've got to be active on social media and say big game big game build up. And I really felt sad against Forest that we just treated it like it was like Carabao Cup first round. There was nothing coming out, so we need to build the game up. So I keep saying the younger kids, they're all social media. So use the social media to get some energy and enthusiasm in the town towards the football club. Look at how we've been before. When we were successful, we had a really positive feel about the club. Everything was positive. But a lot of that came through Holloway and whatever else. But we felt positive. That's where we got to our best. And so, let's build that positivity again.
Okay, fair enough. Are we going to do player ratings, or should we skip that?
Well, I was going to say I didn't
see it
to do it, but we could have done with Matt and Tim for player ratings.
Tim and Matt must be here for that. So
I just wanted to mention, John, before we move on to the Charlton game. We've obviously we're still in the transfer window, aren't we? And whether you think there'll be any more. I know Kenny's going, but that seems to be dragging on. And whether you think we'll get any in between now and when it closes.
There was that United lad, wasn't there, that was mentioned?
I think he's going to Port Vale, I read today. I don't know if it's happened or not.
Where do we need to strengthen, if anywhere, then? Let's put it. Where do you think we'll be looking?
Personally, I think...
Well, we talked about this briefly on the last pod, weren't we? And
Go on, Nick.
Sorry, no, go on, Andy, you're right.
Personally, I think midfield. I think we've got 5 strikers. Because we've got no Kouassi, no Party to come back. And Lavery, Joseph, Rhodes, Beasley. Like if we see him again,
Yeah, we're
this
strong enough
season,
up top, aren't we? I think you're right.
we
It's the midfield.
we can't keep signing more and more strikers.
Wing backs were all right. At the back, we're all right.
I think it's one very good central midfield player. So let's sign Kenny.
Yeah,
You know,
because he is going to go. He is going to go, isn't he? From what we've read, it just hasn't happened yet for one reason or another. And I'd agree. I think up top, with Kouassi coming back, we're pretty well stacked in that area, and now Joseph is up and running. Fullbacks were looking okay. I mean, it might depend what happens with Andy Lyons. Fingers crossed for me. I wouldn't want to see him go. I hope he sticks around, because I still think, for me, he should be involved. So it's probably a centre midfielder. Whether it's to do what Kenny does or even an upgrade on that and chip in with a few goals like Morgan's doing, that would be tremendous. Just hope there isn't a saga like we've seen in the past, where we go in for someone and bids are going back and forth and it gets to 11:30 at night and then it's not happening and it's too late to do anything about it, like we saw with Cameron Brannigan at Oxford. But
we also don't know how the FFP is stacking up either. We might have to be careful with it might not be a wages issue what we're going to afford. It might not be a transfer fee what we're going to afford. It might be FFP that we're struggling with a little bit, or we might be on the edge. Who knows? I don't. We're not party to that, are we?
Yeah, I think the obvious gaps that we've created so far is Thorm's gone and Thompson's gone. So I don't think Thorm was a direct replacement for Husband necessarily, but a left-footed centre half who can maybe fill in at left back like Husband can. If we lost Husband, I don't know who'd play on that left side of defence, and I think that's been a gap for a while. So I'd quite like to see someone come in there. Obviously, we don't really play a left back. It's either Lyons or a winger in it on the left at the moment. And sort of Gabriel's our only full back, as well as Lyons. So that'd probably be a gap for me if we can get someone capable of playing both. There is obviously there's Coulson coming. Yeah, he's a bit more defensive minded maybe, but centre half wise, that feels like maybe a gap. And then definitely midfield. Great to see Morgan chipping in with some goals, and then you got Sonny Carey and Matty Virtue's done okay when he's been in as well. So maybe it's one more option in there that's capable of doing both would be quite a good option for us. But that feels like the two gaps to me. Maybe alone, Weir's gone back, so replacing him effectively.
And I think whoever comes in, I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, and we've said it before, but particularly if it's a lone player, you just want it needs to be better than what you've got. Somebody who can come in and make a real difference between now and the end of the season.
Like Tranmere did with Apter.
Yeah. And we've seen it before, haven't we, with lone players who've been brilliant for us. Dewsbury Hall was fantastic, and one or two others. And then you see when it doesn't work out, like we've already talked about in previous pods with Weir. I thought he was going to play a big part of the season, but it didn't work out. But we'll see. There's still time to get one or two in, isn't there?
Maybe we need to go back in for Anthony Evans.
No.
Played all right for Bristol Rovers. I'm assuming that was the Anthony Evans, was it?
Yeah, you're right. I just think we'll go in for Chris Martin when he's about 43 or something, just to stop him scoring against us. We'll put him in the development team as captain just to stop him scoring against us.
Is Big Gaz still training with us?
I was going to say, yeah. He's the one, and the deadline day signing will probably unveil Big Gaz.
Coming out of the sea again. Might be a bit nippy in January, though.
Mm.
Right, let's move on to Charlton. As we've just said, massive game. I think Charlton have just equalised, according to someone in the comments. So, fingers crossed, Big Mickey is still with us on Saturday. Going to be a fabulous atmosphere in the ground if he is there. Let's pick our team for it. We've not done this in a while. Let's just as in a quick aside, I haven't got the Coulson player in here, so Let's do our team without him. Okay, so let's go around the positions and pick our team to beat Charlton. I'm assuming we're going with the 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it. Rich O'Donnell or Dan Grimshaw if Grimmy's back.
I'm going for Grimmy, just
I'd go
because
for
he's better with his feet. To be fair, not that O'Donnell did anything wrong.
Okay, 3 central defenders. Who we have it in there? Tom, your thoughts?
I think Husband picked himself, doesn't he, on the left, and then Big Marv did quite well at the weekend, so I wouldn't want to see him dropped. And then there's probably a toss-up between Casey and Pennington for the final position, probably.
Connolly's not getting back in then.
Picking Connolly, but I don't think he's done enough in the last few games.
Nick, thoughts?
I'd probably go Casey. I think and don't get me wrong, I like Pennington, but I think I'd probably just add Jit for Casey for me.
Are we in agreement there?
I'd like to say Pennington.
I'd personally put Pennington if he was fit. I'd rather have Pennington instead of Marv.
I think that he would play Casey and then play Pennington during the week against Bolton to get him back up to speed of the games. I think that might be what happens. And you can't knock him if he does that, really. That back three did pretty well on Saturday, didn't they? So you can't. I think anyone would feel a bit aggrieved to be dropped, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hayden Coulson has been picked up by my scraping tool, so he's in. Right, so wing backs. I'd personally go with Lyons and Gabriel, but that's just me.
I would do the same.
Thinking further ahead, are you dropping CJ or are you playing him somewhere else?
That's the other thing.
Yeah. I just think Gabriel's better. I just think Gabriel's better than CJ in that position. Possibly play CJ elsewhere. He's a specialist. He's a specialist wing back, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's his.
We're agreed on
role.
Gabriel, I think, aren't we? Gabriel's on the right, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. What does everyone else think? Wing backs.
I'd pick Lyons left side.
As Bisons has just said there, CJ was shite on Saturday. Apart from his goal, he was very hit and miss.
I mean, he can be, can't he? I think Lyons and Gabriel, you probably get a better balance for me.
You're picking two defenders effectively there, though, aren't you? And we're playing Charlton at home, so only playing devil's advocate. But do you put Dale in? Do you put CJ in? And then when we're 2-0 up, you put a defender on, or if we're in the lead? So it is a tricky decision, this one, and I think it's the hardest two to pick in this team, really.
I think Dale's probably been a bit going forward as well, hasn't he? Because he's not let us down much this season, Dale. So. A lot of people in comments are saying, mentioning Coulson over Lyons. Coulson's just been...
He's steady, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just steady. He doesn't look a goal threat like Lyons is. And I think people forget that. Lyons is goal threat.
I think Lyons and Gabriel have got a threat. Have got a threat coming in at the back post. Both of them have got a threat at the back post, and both are quite good in the air, running onto crosses. So he's not going to go with Gabriel and Lyons. It more
it's our team, though, Andy. It's our pick. Remember?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, should we go? If we go for the two wing backs, then we can be more attacking in midfield, then, can't we? So before anyone starts kicking off in the comments saying why we're so defensive, we'll fix it further up the pitch.
But I get your point. But like I say, it's not like those two players can't get forward. Lyons.
Yeah.
When he was was he our second top scorer in the Championship? Wasn't he last season, Lyons?
Yeah.
I know that's probably not much to say considering how poor we were, but he has got a goal in him, hasn't he?
Okay. Into the midfield. Andy, pick us a central midfielder. You picking Ray Wilkins?
That fella Dougal, is it? I haven't said the lesser spotted Dougal. That's what it is. I think Norburn will play in central midfield. I just don't think he'll vie away from that. So
get away from his team, our team, Andy.
Well, I don't really think we've, other than playing Morgan a little bit deeper when Morgan's been getting forward and scoring. I think you've got to release him to go forward. You have to. Norburn, I like Norburn when he's facing forward. Yeah. I hate the Norburn facing our own goal.
Who could you play over Norburn if we're not putting like an attacker in that position? You just want one that's like not defensive but just sort of middle. It's either Okabugo or Norburn, isn't it?
No. The best player that when Norburn wasn't playing and Dougal's not played, the best player to play in that deep role was been Morgan, but he had the best game playing in that role. But your problem is he's been getting forward and scoring, so you don't want to take that out of the game now. You've got to have him in there too.
I think
he's confident, so like let him run. But so that means you've got to have a deep liar, so you've got to have Norburn really.
I think David James Jackson's got it in comments. That's the remaining five for me. Morgan, Norburn, Dembele, Joseph and Rhodes.
Yeah. I think I don't mind that. And one thing I was just going to say on Morgan, if you're playing him deeper, which we're not going to do by the looks of things, but he came on against Charlton, didn't he, away from home, and he was trying too hard against his former club, and he contributed to us throwing that game away a little bit. So I wouldn't want to change what he's doing at this moment in time, especially against his former club. Just let him play how he's been playing and don't make too much of a fuss of it. So, yeah, I wouldn't want him. I'd have to play Norburn probably myself in that middle.
I think position. I'd put Norburn in. He keeps it ticking over, doesn't he? He's an experienced head that you need in there. Yeah, he's got to go.
But give Norburn his neck injury back so he can only face forward.
I think an honorary mention to Matty Virtue as well, because he's solid when he's played recently, and I wouldn't mind him being thrown in on Saturday, but I think he just misses out on this occasion because two of our best players at the minute have been Morgan and Dembele, so you can't not pick them.
Okay, pick the top two. Jordan Rhodes not scored in 7. He's looking a bit leggy. Time for a break. Unleash Joseph and Lavery.
What about Joseph and Hamilton?
If I'd have been Neil Critchley, I would have told Rhodes when he got off the bus on Saturday, right, to not come back till Thursday. I just said go and stick your feet up for
recharge your batteries.
A few days, yeah, and just don't bother coming in for a few days, because like the Jordan Rhodes that we saw full of energy is like the guy gives everything for you. He does much more closing down than I ever thought he would do. When the Huddersfield fans were saying to us, saying to me, he'll do nothing for you. Give him a chance and he'll take it. Right, but he does get through a lot of work. He gets through a lot of work, and I do think he contributes to other people playing well.
He does, and I said on the last part, I hadn't realised it was 7 games, but it's like we saw on Saturday. He's still got that bit of cleverness where he slides in and gets the ball to Joseph who crosses for the goal. And I think if he just does get that one chance, I like Lavery, brilliant energy. We saw it against Forest, but I think I like him coming off the bench and doing that. If Rhodes just gets that one chance, we've seen it, just the way he puts it away. There's other players and they probably snatch at that a bit. And so for me, even though he hasn't scored in 7, I still I'd still start him.
I agree, Nick, but I'd like to see Lavery come on with more than 20 minutes left in a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it would be nice to see him a bit sooner, but well, that's on. Critchy likes to leave it till 70, 75 minutes, doesn't he?
Let's go around the room then. Let's pick our two. I'm going with Lavery and Joseph. Andy.
I don't think we can leave Rhodes out of this game. Rhodes and Joseph, Lavery to come on. Lavery to start against Bolton.
Tom?
Yeah, I'd say same as that. Rhodes and Joseph.
Same for me.
Motion carried. So that's the team.
We've picked.
We do need to get one or two of these lads with 90 minutes against Bolton. We have to.
Yeah. The only two changes we've made from Saturday is the fullbacks, isn't it, from Coulton and Hamilton. So we're pretty happy with 9 out of the 11. So guaranteed some of them won't play, I think.
Guaranteed that'll never happen anyway. That team.
We're never usually anywhere near, are we? Didn't we have that one where we got 10 out of 11 or something?
Well, that's the closest we've been.
Yeah, must have been Sadler going in and telling him,
don't pick their team.
Put a bet on this team, you better play 10 of them.
Right, just before we go, a few little stats from the Charlton end. Fun fact, their away form is worse than ours. Played 13, won 1, drawn 6, lost 6. Like I said, they've not won since 28th of November 2023. That was 2-1 against Cheltenham. Their current form is played 5, won 0, drawn 1 and lost 4. Therefore, Charlton Athletic are going to beat Blackpool 2-1. Nick?
I'm hoping that Appleton's still there, and there isn't, not that be a new manager, as in they'll appoint someone by Saturday if he goes, but even if it's a temporary manager, you sometimes get that bounce, don't you? So I'm hoping he clings on and he is still in charge. I'm going to go 2-0 to Blackpool.
My camera just went off then. Grim Reaper, what are you thinking?
The stands are going to be rocking on Saturday as we win 4-0.
Wow.
And we'll be 2-0 up at 3-0 up at half time, and the stands will be rocking. Get yourself down to Bloomfield Road on Saturday because you're going to see some superstars on show. He's been on the raggy aid, hasn't he? He's been doubling up before he came. He just sent me a text before to say, get the positivity going, I think.
We all got the Bristol Rovers result correct, Tom. We all predicted a win. Unbelievably, that came true. So what's on your mind for this game? Do you think we're going to have 4 in a row?
I think we are. I don't want to copy Nick, but I think 2-0 as well. I think we'll be 1-0 and a bit of a cagey affair, and then we'll score a second, as they're pushing forward and win it. I was just remembering, I can't believe how long it is ago, but I think it's 16 years ago we played Charlton home, if you remember that 5-3 thriller that we had with Paul Dickoff scoring a couple. So I was just remembering that from down, memorable fixtures down the years of playing Charlton, but hopefully something similar in store this time, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win.
Excellent. Let's hope they all come true apart from mine. Mine was said a bit tongue.
You can see Darren McKenzie and Bison's of my mentality of a week ago.
0-0 and 3-1.
No.
Darren's pretty positive normally, to be fair. Bison's isn't, but there we go. Right, chaps. Thanks for your company. As always, kept it for just on an hour this evening, so that's a bit more respectable time. Yeah, do like and subscribe if you're watching the YouTube. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading. And come on the pool. Let's get 4 in a row.
Up the pool.